Okay, so I have this placed on my chemistry book, so you don't have to see my face because I couldn't figure out any other thing to use besides this. So I'm using photo booth. Okay, for intro to chemistry, I have noticed that I've actually learned quite a bit this year, just already in the past 2 weeks, more than I thought I would. So main points that I've noticed that I have learned is living and non-living things are made of matter, which affects all aspects of life. I also learned that chemists design materials to fit specific needs like energy resources, medicine resources to find cures, agriculture resources, the environment, and also the universe. Another main point is that the scientific method is an important step, including observations, testing, hypothesis, and developing theories, which we have been doing in all labs so far, which I enjoy. Another main point are properties used to describe matter include extensive or intensive. And at first, this was a hard concept for me, but eventually I just asked you, and I realized it's not that hard of a concept after all. And there are three states of matter: a solid, liquid, or a gas, of course. Physical changes are reversible or irreversible, and mixtures are classified as either heterogeneous or homogeneous. I've enjoyed doing labs this year. Last year we didn't really do very many labs. It was just kind of like we sit there, we learn our material, and we take a test. So I like being active and doing stuff on the computer this year. That's what I like about this change. So far, I've done a total of 4 labs in this class, and we have completed those and turned each and turned each of them in, and they each cover a different topic, which I like. We're never doing 2 things that are the same. 2 research papers we had to complete, and they were over various questions, and vocabulary words were defined to our understanding, which is what I had to turn in to deserve an A grade. In our first lab, it was the composition of pennies lab, and we were given pennies in which we weighed the mass of, and we wrote down the year of the penny. When placing each penny at a time into the beaker with water, we measured the density. When all outcomes were recorded, we discovered that the older the penny was, the greater the density was in it, which was interesting for me because I realized that nowadays pennies don't weigh as much as they used to way back when. On another lab, it was the properties of chalk and baking soda lab, and our goal in that was to see if there would be a physical or chemical reaction by adding water to half the side of our material, which would be the baking soda or chalk, and on the other side we added hydrochloric acid. After finding out our reactions, we let it evaporate and we waited to record the outcomes. What I learned from this lab was identifying the difference between chemical and physical change, which I was aware of, but it didn't really stick in my head. So this was a very clear understanding of it. I learned that a chemical change is when a reaction happens between 2 elements, while physical change is just when the appearance of one element is altered, but of course still the same element is kept there. Another lab we did was the density balance lab, and this one was really related to real life for me because I remember as a kid doing this. It was just like a teeter-totter, and this would always happen to me. The object of this lab was to measure the density between the distance between object A and object B. A pencil we laid flat, and then we placed a ruler on top of it, giving it the teeter-totter effect. And on one half, the water liquid was placed in the syringe, and on the other half, we did 3 different types of alcohol that we tested. I realized that the water was only constant throughout the whole experiment because every other alcohol was different densities and different mass. And this lab really related back to reality because I remembered that the problem was you would have someone really light on one side and someone with, I guess you could say, a greater mass was on the other side, and we were all like, we can't do teeter-totter because so-and-so is too heavy. Well, now we know how to fix that and can go back to our child and be like, you need to do this so it actually works. I found that these labs were very helpful relating back to the past chapter that we just learned in chemistry and also back to life. We may not realize it at the time, but chemistry is used some way or another every day of our life. You may not realize it, but it is chemistry. I enjoy labs and the hands-on activities that we have been doing, and I'm already learning more than what I thought I would be. I actually don't dread coming to 7th period, even though it is almost the end of the day. And I am very excited for the future chemistry labs and the tasks you will be handing us. Also, I made like a task sheet, so I'll just show you that quick. That'd be this. Covered all these points.